Taylor continues growing their gold label collection with the new 714E Super Auditorium with featuring rosewood back and sides. We carry the entire selection of Taylor gold label models, custom shop, standard models, builder edition. We've got it all. Check out empiremusic.com. And like I said, today we're going to highlight this new 714E gold label. Let's do it. Taylor Guitars is really evolving right now. We've been selling Taylor Guitars. I've been selling a Taylor guitar since 1994. I was 14, 15 years old. Combed my hair. Put in the dippity-doo, number 5. I was a man of means at that age. Pretty exciting times. And we've seen Taylor Guitars go through all these kind of changes over time while still being at the core a brand that's known for their amazing playability, and that really plays to the heart of gold label guitars with the action control neck, which we'll get into in a little bit. In January of 2025, Taylor launched the gold label collection 800 series and their super grand auditoriums. And what does that mean? Nobody really knows. It's just like, obviously, when a brand names something gold label has a meaning, which we'll get into. But super grand auditorium, it's just a little bit bigger than a grand auditorium. How about that? That's cool. It does give you the sonic response of a bigger guitar, so that's why they did it. And gold label guitars are really intended to harness the vision of Taylor guitars as they think they would have seen it if they existed in the 1930s and 40s. How would Taylor guitars be taking the times, the players' wants and needs, and solving them in that period of time? And they're delivering that to us today, because obviously they didn't deliver them then because they weren't open. They weren't open until 74. So it's just like, this is a brand that's kind of looking back for some historical reference and playing with it, and I think killing it. I mean, really, it's just what they've done is they've given us Taylor's sonic profile of a clean, focused, defined guitar while adding this character that I think a lot of players have been wishing for a long time. Now, in January, the guitars launched. They were in the 4K range, and that's great, and there's lots of buyers in that range. The new 514E and 714E are all squished into $2,600 to $3,000 at the time of the filming here. So a lot of value in these guitars. Premium. They can go up against any guitar in that category. So let's kind of talk about what this guitar is special with. You know what I mean? What's cool about it is it's got the sparkle of a rosewood guitar, right? Because rosewood has extra bass, extra treble, reduced mids. So when we hear the sparkle of this guitar, a very classic sonic experience. What's different about this, though, is if you played a Taylor Builder's Edition 814 or standard 814, you might have felt like the guitar had, a lot of people say they're really bright, and that's, if you say it's bright, it's bright. You know, like I've learned that our experience and when we hold an instrument is unique to us. If I don't always hear bright, I just hear super defined. It doesn't have a lot of times the treble is so focused that it doesn't kind of bleed and offer a lot of roundness. Either way, we're hearing the same thing. We're just accepting it a little differently. But this guitar doesn't have that characteristic. It's got a much rounder experience. Why is that? We've got V-class fan bracing, so a fan brace that opens up the top of the guitar. It's a little bit bigger. And now you have that sparkle, and that's what rosewood guitars have. So a lot of times if you think you want a rosewood instrument, like I want that, a really warm guitar, just consider that rosewood is bassy, sparkly, and reduced mids. And those mids being reduced offers singer-songwriters the opportunity to fill that space, and that's why they love it, because it's kind of like a comfy blanket, right? We've got our bass section, we've got our treble section, and then most of our voices fit right in that center there. So as we're... You can easily hear a vocal over that, knowing that we've got that top end and bottom end to kind of fill out the rest of our sound. If you're trying to fill a space, this is it. You know what I mean? It's just like this guitar will absolutely fill a space. The gold label guitars come with LR Baggs electronics, so another kind of evolution. Taylor makes the expression system, and that's always evolving. The Baggs VTC pickup is direct response to players that wanted Baggs in it. It's like, if you watch, Taylor guitars are everywhere. If you watch American Idol or you watch the Grammys and you watch the backline bands, Taylor guitars are everywhere. Oftentimes, they're with LR Baggs retrofitting them because that's what the players and the artists want, because it's a consistent sound that they trust. So Taylor's giving you that. So we've got the LR Baggs, we've got a classic rosewood design, we've got a torrefied Sitka Spruce top. The torrefied Spruce top is a baked top that reduces the moisture content. It gives us a more worn-in, evolved, mature sound. And you can hear that in the roundness, right? When we talk about that top end being sparkly, but not brittle. That's how you achieve it. You achieve it through bracing. You achieve it through wood selection. How you treat the wood, right? None of these things by themselves solve a problem, right? If we just take any guitar and put different bracing in it, it'll sound a little different, but it's really a sum of the idea, right? It's like we're taking bracing, we're taking premium materials, we're baking the top to allow for that guitar to give us the most mature sound. And that's how a guitar, the body's slightly larger. So we take all those features, and now we have an instrument that performs quite differently than a traditional 814 or 714 would have, right? So we have kind of all of those things at play. But what we don't lose is our balance. Every note has a voice. There's no doubt about it. We don't get muddy. We keep focus, we keep definition. Even though the mids are scooped out in a rosewood guitar, the Taylor still has that vocal capability where it doesn't totally disappear. And that's really important, because oftentimes when people think of they want a warm guitar, you pick up a rosewood guitar and it's got all this bass, and then the next thing you hear is the high E string. If you strum a G chord and all you're hearing is this and this, we've got a problem. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta stop, because what we've done is we've lost the ability to articulate within the guitar. And I don't know too many of us that want a 2-string guitar. You know what I mean? It's just like, we haven't gotten any requests on those in our 23 years. It's just like, it's not what people want. You want 6 voices. You might want a dominant bass, and you can get that, you know what I mean? But that doesn't mean we forget about the rest of the strings. The overall performance of the instrument's interesting, because you have this kind of marriage of it's being able to be delicate like a Taylor guitar would, but there's more body to it, and then opening up and being pretty gnarly, which is awesome. So let's check out kind of like soft playing, and then we'll build up to it, and you'll hear how the guitar starts to offer more and more power and response and overtones and uniqueness. But when you're playing it quietly, it still has something to say. It's not an instrument that becomes like when sometimes you play a guitar and it's like when it's played lightly, it just sounds so sterile and there's nothing there. This gives you a really interesting sound, complex and mature. But as we open it up, it really just, kind of meets that need. A really wide range to deliver like all these different tones, right? We're not losing out on the ability to sound articulate and smart when we're playing lightly, but we can definitely get into kind of like a little bit more of that gnarly range where the guitar feels a little bit more To me, like when you play a vintage style guitar and you open it up, it's almost got this a horse out of a stable thing to it. You know what I mean? And what makes them great is it's still controlled, but it's got this ability where it's like you almost feel like the guitar is speaking on its own. You're playing it and it's giving you all this unique stuff, and you don't know what's going to come next. And I don't think Taylor's always been more of a defined guitar, so you really, really could count on it to do exactly what it's supposed to do. A vintage guitar always just feels a little bit more wild, you know what I mean, a little bit more open. And I think this guitar has some of that characteristic, which is really, really cool. And I think that we've all been wishing Taylor would give us a little bit of that in the line, which doesn't mean it should be the only sound, because it's not. You're gonna have builder's edition, you're gonna have standard, you're gonna have legacy guitars that really give you those classic Taylor sounds for if you're into recording and live and your worship and you want those really defined tones. But if you're thinking, hey, I love the way a Taylor guitar plays and feels and sounds, but I want a little bit more of a classic interpretation, this guitar delivers it. It's got an action control neck in it for the playability. And essentially, Taylor's always had a bolt-on neck that allows us to adjust the neck angle of the guitar and keep the guitar playing great no matter what. But that was kind of like a professional take the neck off situation. With the action control neck now, we have a 1 bolt that allows us to adjust our neck angle on the fly. Now, should everyone go in there and just start twisting away? No. But on the other hand, it is, it's like, you don't have to be an MIT graduate to adjust the neck. It's one of those things where if you're playing and you're in spec, but you just wish it was a little lighter because you're a light player, you can go ahead and bring that neck angle down and allow for even lighter play. But if you find that, now I'm going to open this guitar up, the neck truss rod has got the correct amount of relief in it, I want to give myself a little bit more room so I'm not too buzzy, go ahead and change that neck angle and allow for more room and string height to match your playing needs. It's a guitar that is phenomenal for working musicians. You've seen gold label guitars all over the place. Like, you have Trey Hensley, who just won the Bluegrass Award for the Player of the Year, playing all gold label dreadnoughts. You're seeing these guitars everywhere. I mean, artists are widely accepting them. There's no doubt about it. Maybe a little bit of a blind spot for Taylor over the last few years was adoption in those places, because the reality is these guitar players that you see can play any guitar. If you see them pushing a brand or using this live, it's not, I mean, they're playing what they want to play, right? They may get paid to do it or not in some instances. It just depends on the player, I guess, if it's a signature model and all that stuff. But ultimately, they can play anything. So when you see bluegrass players playing Taylor guitars, that's got to catch your attention, right? You know what I mean? It's like, what's that saying? Those players don't need to play a Taylor guitar. And I can tell you, Taylor isn't paying them the most money. I can promise you that. So it's just a matter of coming down to, do you want a Taylor guitar? If you played Taylor guitars and always wish it was a little bit more round, I wish it was a little bit more woody, I wish it was a little bit more classic in sonic nature, but you still love the soul of a Taylor guitar, which is definition, focus, playability. This is it. It's the gold label 714E with a baked top, Sitka Spruce top, East Indian Rosewood back and sides, a super Auditorium shape. We have a huge selection of Taylor guitars, from Baby Taylors, GS Minis, custom shop, gold labels, legacy, the whole bit. Go to empiremusic.com. If you have questions, we're here to help you out. You can chat with us on the site. Call us at 412-343-5299. This is the 714E gold label. Thanks for watching.